Good morning and Happy New Year. Welcome to the Upper Deck.
Cue the music.
Wow, I don't feel worthy of that amazing new intro.
Yeah, gotta really thank our Pinstripe Chronicles bros, Rob Barros and Uncle Tats for putting that together for us.
Absolutely. And good morning from Chris and Lynn. Thank you, Jonathan, Lori C, and the Strike Zone for joining in.
Maza, hey, good morning. So happy last day of the year, last Upper Deck show of the year. Chris, we made it through 2023. It's official.
Absolutely did. And we're looking forward to 2024. And today's show is all about looking forward. We feel like the whole topic of starting pitching for the Yankees, yes, we need it. Lynn might say a few words about it later. I'm tired of that topic. I'm ready to look forward.
Absolutely. And we've spent so much time just venting and there's always something to vent about. Like Chris mentioned, I have things, and inevitably we tend to spiral down into that, and we'll be ready for it. But hey, Rob's dad, we were just shouting your son out because he was critical in giving us our cool opening intro.
Absolutely.
Yep. So good to see you, Mr. Barrows, sir. Hi to Frank. Good to see you also. So before we start, you know the drill by now. We're going to share the trivia question of the week, the last one of the year, from Spencer.
All right, Spencer.
So the end of 2023 has arrived. We've commemorated many historical endings on the Upper Deck. Here's one for the road. 111 years ago, on October 5th, 1912, pitcher Al Schulz, a name that even the hardest of the diehard New York Yankee fans may recognize, retired Washington Senators right fielder Danny Moeller to end an 8-6 New York win, and was the last pitcher to do what?
All right. Digging into the history books this week.
Yeah, and I'm not going to give a hint, but if you think and know how to analyze context, you might get close to a really good guess. And I'll just leave it there.
All right.
Throughout the years, think about the name of the Washington Senators that no longer exists. The year 1912, think about that in Yankee history chronologically. And that's my little Christmas, post-Christmas gifty hint to you guys.
All right, we'll let that simmer on the back burner. Before we get into some of the deeper topics today, I wanted to mention that we're supporting a number of writers. And I don't know how important reading about Yankees baseball and writing about Yankees baseball is to some of you in the chat, but I'm a writer myself. And we wanted to give a shout out today to some of the Yankees baseball writers that are out there maybe on the little bit smaller scale than Brian Hoke, for example. We don't want to ever forget to read whatever Hoke has on the hopper for the day. But I thought I would give a little shout out. One of the people, she was on our show recently, Jonna Perlinger. She's writing for Fansided these days. We also recently had Jacob Berenger. He's writing for Inside the Diamonds. I am also writing for Inside the Diamonds. Deb Seymour has been a guest on the show a couple times. She writes for Ball 9 along with Kevin Kernan. He's not been on the show, but we'd love to have him. We love reading Ball 9. Chris Vitale is the editor-in-chief, I believe, and he's been on the show with us. We always love supporting him. Ryan Garcia of Empire Sports Media is another writer out there worth reading on a daily basis. And lastly, our own Donald Stewart, writing for Last Word on Sports. So if you ever are looking for a good read, there's a number of good writers who are in the Pinstripe Chronicle family, in and around it. Look for us to be sharing and talking about these articles, and just keep a heads up for them.
Yep, and not that I am impartial or anything, but all of these people are really doing good work out there, and so support, just like shopping local. Read local. Read the small writing communities that are looking to grow and get bigger. And so I put all that information in the chat of
Thank you,
friends, and now Uncle Tats is saying, "Oh, Mazza, way to go!" Our friend Mike Mazza from 4 Train Express is a writing contributor for New York Yankees Underground. That's amazing.
Right, I did not know, but I will definitely check that out. Thank you.
Yep, and so I'm really glad that you shared that, Chris, because it's so important to lift each other up.
Yes, absolutely. And now on to some of the topics of the day. We wanted, as I said, to look forward, and we thought that the potential Yankee lineup looks something like this, and not in this order. But Volpe, Judge, Soto, Torres, Rizzo, Verdugo, LeMahieu, Wells, and Stanton. These are the staple, probably position players. Obviously, I didn't think about mixing in a lot of the peripherals like, Peraza, Cabrera. There'll be a place for all of that. We can get into that later on. But I thought we'd start off today with Volpe. He's someone that I'm really looking forward to digging into and to seeing in 2024. His 2023 season was Lynn, how would you describe Volpe in 2023?
I think Volpe in 2023 was an example of one of my favorite phrases. We didn't manage our expectations well.
Yeah.
He came out like lightning and fireworks, and then really fizzled. And the good news is that a fizzle for Volpe is something really not so bad for a lot of other players, but
right.
He really wasn't up to standard, particularly the second half of the season.
Right.
And as Yankee fans, there was not much happiness about him.
Yeah, he certainly came under a lot of scrutiny for his offensive performance this season. Just to back up and dig in a little bit to Volpe. He was in 2023. He was the youngest player to start a season opener since Jeter in '96. So let's remember that. He was the first Yankees position player to make his debut by starting on opening day since Matsui in 2003. So coming into the season, he was a highly touted, highly awaited prospect. And his performance, he became the youngest player ever to hit a grand slam at Yankee Stadium. There were a number of career highlights for him. He became the first Yankees rookie to hit a grand slam. That happened in 2023. He set a record as the first player in Yankee history to steal his first 13 career bases without being caught, surpassing Joe DiMaggio. So that was a big accomplishment. And Lynn, maybe we could just take a minute to highlight Volpe's running abilities.
Yeah, well, I mean, he's definitely got the speed on the pads, and I don't have any stats on Volpe's stolen
Right.
bases, but
Yeah.
um,
Well, he was
he,
10 for 10 to start the season, so that was pretty
right,
impressive. And he
right.
ended up with 24 stolen bases. And I'm really thinking that as we look forward, yeah, I mean, who else on the team even came close?
Right, and
No.
Tats is saying that Volpe was pressuring himself to help carry the team, and went away from his approach that got him called up. Yeah,
Yes.
and
Yes.
I think that's a great call out, Uncle Tats, because everybody, one man was trying to do the work of the other, of the other 23,
Right. Right.
24. And that is the same for the bullpen for the pitchers. And the other thing about Volpe is, let's not forget his Gold Glove.
I was going to, yes.
Right. And so I think like boy, if I could get a nickel for every time I say managing expectations, if I could find a sponsor for that, I'm happy to donate it to charity, because I say it a lot, but the Yankees make us say it a lot.
They do make us say it a lot.
We needed perspective here. He's a kid. He's brand new to MLB, to the shows, right? So, he was stellar, and we just like automatically treated him like a veteran, and that was unfair to him. Yep, and yeah, and so what do you think about what Jonathan's saying there, Chris?
Well, I mean, if he would manage, if he hit 280, I'd go out and buy his jersey, which I may do anyway. I love the kid, but Baseball Reference projects that he'll hit 229. So when you talk about managing expectations, my expectation, I may not say that if he can hit 280, but I'm wondering if he could hit maybe 240 to 260, and if that would be a reasonable expectation as a wish list for Volpe. He's got to hit with more consistency, and he's got to be able to adjust to pitchers adjusting to him.
Yeah, I would agree with that. And strike zone, I'm agreeing with you as well. Yeah, I think we need to hold off on top of the order, but I also think we should start edging him further up in the lineup than where he was for at least the majority of the second half.
Right.
And I don't think he's really a number 8, number 9 anymore. I frankly, I don't think he ever was, but he should be moving up a little bit. But yes, he's not our leadoff guy. And that's actually a great thing to talk about if we can get to it later as well.
Yeah.
I
mean, I would like to see him in the leadoff spot if he's going to continue to, if he's going to hit, and if he's going to hit with some consistency. We don't need him to hit with power, but he hit 21 home runs this year. That was an impressive feat. He went 20 stolen bases, 20 home runs. That was impressive. But also, if he's going to be running the bases, we need that. I think we need that speed. And Lori correctly points out that it seemed to fall off as the season went on, and we need it to continue. And if he was in that leadoff spot, hitting with consistency and getting on base, then I think stealing bases is a significant part of the Volpe game.
Yeah, 100%. And strike zone and Mr. Barros are pretty close in saying that he'd be great in 6th, 7th, or 5th, 6th, 5, 6th.
Right.
Morning, FG. Good to see you. Hey, Karen. Good to see you. So FJ is saying that he needs to cut down on the power. You're absolutely right, FJ. He was really swinging for that was another shift we saw in him along the way that ended up being part of his undoing. No, he needs to be a contact guy with power, and hit those line drives and get on base so that you could run and steal them once you're there. So Yes, everyone, welcome my sister Karen.
Yeah, so I mean, I think Volpe is an anchor in the middle infield. He's defensively, he's eye popping. His numbers were eye popping. He had 15 defensive runs saved this season. I mean, he was stellar behind the pitcher, and I think that definitely, build around that at second base. I mean, we got Gleyber Torres manning second base. The two of them seemed like they were a pretty good combination there. Gleyber is Gleyber. He has his lapses, but they formed a solid infield.
Right.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Absolutely. What else you got, Chris?
As far as what I was thinking we could do is talk a little bit about, as I was looking forward for Judge. He's my next, I have a wish list for him as well. Judge, as we all know, his 2023 was marred by injury. It utterly and completely sucked.
Yeah, it suck is a good, really good word for it. But the good news is that a healthy Judge is going to bounce back in 2024.
Right.
And what have you come across any projections? I have a prediction,
Yes.
but
when Judge went down, he was leading MLB with 18 home runs. He was absolutely mashing in May. And when in May he hit 298, and after May, when he came back, he hit 222. He hit 12 home runs in May. He was having a year when he went down. And I think that Judge, when he comes back in 2023, he's going to pick up where he left off in May, not where he left off with in August of last year. He was, but that being said, he, even after missing 2 months, he led the team in homers, WAR, and OPS. The Yankees went 25-31 without Judge, and they went 57-49 with him. With Judge, this is a better team. There's just no cutting it two ways.
No, absolutely not. And so, and the other thing to call out, this I was reading. I always read everything Brian Hoke writes, but he was putting down some predictions himself for Judge, and he mentioned that we should expecting him to make that run for surpassing 62 in 2024.
Oh, wow.
And similar to what you were just saying, despite missing those 51 games, Judge is one of only 2 major leaguers in history who hit 37 home runs while playing 106 games or fewer.
Yep.
It's Judge and Mark McGwire. Nobody else has done that. Wow. And he just laid out by the numbers overall. Right. But he's the smash king. He's the captain. And
yep. I mean, Judge was so good that he put up a 5.3 WAR in just 106 games this season. All things considered, he played another MVP caliber season. He just didn't play enough games to qualify. I mean, he provides the Yankees with a team-wide boost in the form of lineup protection. Players see more pitches when he's in the lineup. They perform better when they see those pitches. If you want to read a really good article on this topic of Judge's contribution and how he affects the Yankees, Alex Eisert, back on September in 2023, September 7th, he wrote an article for Fangraphs called "Just How Much Do Aaron Judge's Teammates Depend on Him?" And he is the key. He's the cornerstone of this team when he's in the lineup. And when he's out of the lineup, they don't win.
Right. And to Karen's point here, and I think Karen's right. There wasn't the vibe. Even though Judge was present, it's a different vibe when he's not playing among them.
It is.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Um,
I mean, just to throw a stat out there, F WAR leaders since MLB F WAR leaders since July of 2022, Otani with 13.7, Judge with 12.5 F WAR, and Betts with 11.7. Those are the leaders. And Judge missed 50 games. So, I mean, Judge is definitely holding his own as the captain of this team, and he's not letting us down at all. My wish list for Judge, I want to see him playing 150 plus games next season. I want to see him healthy. Dodger Stadium, fuck off.
I want to see him obviously get Gold Glove, get AL player MVP. I just want the sun and the moon for him.
Yeah.
And he's more than ready and able to get it back. And I think we all believe in him. And Anthony, good to see you. Thanks for coming by again.
Yeah, I think 2024 is a prove it season for Judge. I think 2023 would have been a prove it season because he was coming off those, that explosive career year where he set all the records. And so what 2023 was what he got now. 2024 is going to be, again, that question, what is Judge bringing to the table? And I think he's going to be a beast after being so limited in 2023. I mean, will he vie for an MVP? Will he vie for a batting title? I look for him to at least get back in the conversation. That's my wish for Judge in 2024.
Yeah, I think you'll get your wish. Mismanage expectations is confident you're going to get your wish. So, and Strike Zone's asking Mr. Barrows, what do you think about switching DJ and Wells? I like the lineup other than that. So let's pivot to DJ for a minute then.
Yes, let's do.
So I took a little bit of a dive into DJ's projections per Fangraph, and he's projected to play 136 games, and he hit 14 home runs and an average of 257.
Wow.
With a slogan.
That seems like a very modest prediction.
Yeah, it sounds like they're being very cautious about DJ. And so I think that kind of falls in line with what I think is behind Strike Zone's question about DJ. Because Boone did lay him down as the third baseman. And so there's a couple of things about that. First of all, we lose him as a chess piece.
Yes.
Because he really filled in at second and first and third last season. He stayed for DJ relatively healthy the whole season. And he's been working really, really hard in the off season. So yeah, I thought these predictions were a little bit low. But to me, especially he's not a home run hitter, but even with that, I think predicting 14 home runs was really lowballing it. I don't know what you think, Chris.
Yeah, I'd like to know from the chat, basically, what role do you think DJ would be most successful in 2024? I know that, Lynn, you said that he's been slated as the third baseman. He's going to be slotted in there. And so we're going to lose him as as the utility guy. And I just hope that he himself can stay healthy to be an everyday player for 136 games and be the third base, guy that we need.
Yeah, especially since we lost the only other utility guy we had with IKF. Right. And so our infield stacking up great until something, something goes wrong with somebody's toe.
Right.
But in games until somebody loses an eye or, breaks their toe. And so interesting. It's almost as if our friends in the chat are reading our notes. I'm going to have to wonder about the sorcery going on here. Mr. Barrows is saying DJ should go to first base. And so that leads me to Rizzo, who I also took a look at it. And I was reading this really, on point article, and coincidentally enough, the name was familiar. The name of the author was Chris Northrup from Inside the Diamonds. And so I'm like, oh, I know her. So the thing with Rizzo is, and everything's with the caveat of, if he comes back healed, trained, and has a really good, time in Tampa, let's remember that he was putting up career numbers offensively before he got injured. He was hitting .327 at the end of May, before the concussion issues came to the forefront. And in May alone, he had 6 home runs. So, and remember, Rizzo had been, had some issues in the prior season, and we were, at least I was already thinking, okay, where is this, where's this contact hitter? Where did he go? And so think about the fact of where he would have ended up had he not all those concussion issues come to the head that they, I really didn't mean it up in there, the way that they did, that caused him to be out the rest of the season, which was a horrible, horrible thing. And so, it's going to be just like Judge. Are we going to get May 2023 Rizzo? And I believe that the chances are good. I don't know if I feel as strong as what you just laid down, Chris. But I think that he's putting in the work, and I think the batting coach, will help with some of the rest. And in terms of projections from Fangraphs, they're saying he'll play a few less games than DJ. They're saying 131 games. Okay. And they're also they're lowballing Rizzo worse than they were DJ at 242 batting average in 2024.
Right.
And he might get 33 home runs this coming year, provided he gets the right coaching and stays healthy.
Right. Yeah, so Rizzo's a question mark. As you say, he's a question mark for one thing, because we got to be sure that he comes back healthy. And I mean, surely you heal from a concussion by then, right? By spring training. I mean, I assume he'll be a healthy man. I believe that hopefully we'll be getting some injury news on these players soon from the front office to find out how things are going. Haven't really seen much. Haven't seen anything on Rizzo, I don't think. But I'm going to hope, again, my wish list for Rizzo is come back to May Rizzo. The player you were when you went down in May, not the player that he was when he went down and had to leave the game finally, because he became just a shadow of himself. Rizzo was having a career year, and can he catch lightning in a bottle and replicate that? We need him to do that. We need a Rizzo. We don't need Rizzo hitting 240.
No. But, and we certainly don't need a combo plan of DJ and Rizzo essentially being that middle of the road and low average
exactly.
Road.
Yes.
And so and LI is putting out some trading thoughts, and FJ is in line with them. And I don't know. Front office snoozed all of last week. So I don't know that they're making these sort of, intricate calculations on trades and acquisitions. Right. But, and LI is saying then we acquire Robbie Ray. But that's sliding us down into pitching. So Rizzo said he's fine per the team. All
Okay.
you can do is ask the player if he's good to go.
Yeah.
Well, that's true, but that was also part of the problem. They asked him, he said yes, and he wasn't good to go.
Yep.
And so we actually don't want that again.
We don't want that again.
We want the doctors to do their job. We want them to continue to keep an eye on him because, as Karen, who is a nurse, yeah, I mean that's not even medical terminology. They could be tricky, and he's proof of it.
Right.
And so, yeah, we totally and strike. So yeah, that's the thing. Totally mishandled Rizzo, and so hopefully he got the proper care, and quality healing went on, and a good routine to get him where he was. So we'll see about those projections.
Yep.
So go ahead, Chris.
I was going to say, I thought maybe I would end my portion today with a rant, a 2024 rant, what I'm looking forward to next year and what I don't ever want to see again, which is I don't want to ever see another Yankee season that ends with the general manager and vice president calling it a disaster. So if we could please move into 2024, Mr. Cashman, and make some moves and possibly acquire some starting pitching and win a World Series in 2024, I would greatly appreciate that.
I think we would all appreciate that. Any disagreement in the chat with that? And and Mr. Barrows, if it was only about Italian heritage, then I wish let's go with that. Let's go with that. So for me, I'm also still thinking about the predictions that we started with. We haven't mentioned Glaber at all.
Right.
And so, let's just face it and accept it. Glaber's not going anywhere.
Right.
And so I came across an article on MLB.com about who are going to be the hot trios in the MLB. And here's a little quiz, chat. Who do you think Anthony Castrovinci from MLB.com said would be the breakout trio for the Yankees in 2024? Chris, what do you think?
Well, I would have hoped for Dominguez, Judge, and Soto, but I mean I know Dominguez won't be back till July. But what have you got? What did they suggest?
So either the chat is stumped or yeah. Oh, okay, Jonathan, you don't see him getting re-signed.
Okay.
Okay. That's your hill to climb. Mr. Barrows is saying Judge, Soto, Cole as the breakout trio. Okay, fair enough. So the prediction that was made on MLB.com, it was a little bit of a surprise. Judge, Soto, Torres. And the reason was because, in particular, and he said, yes, sure, you can put Rizzo where Torres' name is. But over the past 2 seasons, Torres' slash line has actually shown him to be the Yankees' most productive hitter, not named Judge. And he's only 27. So, he's got the years and the youth. We know he needs some uppage in that baseball IQ on the defense, but 266 and a 266 average is a better average than what we're getting projections for on Rizzo and DJ, to name a couple.
Right.
So he thinks that Torres is essentially going to have another outstanding kind of year.
Right.
So I know that there's a lot more thumbs down on Torres than thumbs up. I think for me, that's primarily been about his stupid mistakes on the field. Uh,
Exactly.
but and you're 100% right, FJ. They need a proper infield coach to instruct Torres on infield play. Yeah,
Right.
got to nail those mechanics down. And
Oh, yeah.
it's also really hard to teach instincts, that those gut instincts.
Right.
You have to make those
Absolutely.
flash decisions about to turn right or left with the ball if you catch it. And
Or
so,
to pay attention. Just pay
right,
attention.
yeah,
Sometimes it looks like he's daydreaming out there.
yep, 100%.
So,
Yeah, and hey, FL Diver, good to see you. And Lori just thinks he needs a shrink. He needs a sport.
yeah. I was going to dig into Gleyber Torres next week deeply. But I will say this week he was on the team leaderboard in a number of categories. I can't remember off the top of my head, but yeah, he had a good season. His defense is not terrible. It's not laughable anymore, but he does still need to tighten it up. But on offense, we need Gleyber, to return and be the Gleyber that he was in 23, and to improve on that. In fact,
Yep, absolutely. And we're getting a little bit of a debate going on Torres. So I love me some good debates.
oh yeah,
And D-Rod, that's a fair point. Anyone in their contract year is going to like play their best.
yep,
But he played his best, and now we know what he could really rise to and do. So why not hold on to him, and just hope that with the right re-signing and the right money, etc., that he'll
right,
just continue to want to prove himself. And he's got Judge and Rizzo to help him along with that. But then we have FL Diver saying he isn't in the Yankees' plans. So who are you talking to, FL? Usually I'm the one having lunch with Cashman. Is it out on me, FL Diver? I need to know.
I saw an interesting comment up here from FJ2 about the starting rotation. He said, I don't see any starting pitching acquisitions. And that's exactly what I'm afraid of happening, is that once Yamamoto didn't happen, the Yankees didn't pivot anywhere. That was their plan.
No,
and now they're going to go and just go with what we've got. And if they do that, it'll just be another disaster.
It was very frustrating, and here's my rant. I'm going to piggyback off that to say how frustrating it was to see all the pitching trades this past week. And so who do we have left? Luckily, we still have Cease and Burns around. We've talked to them about them ad nauseum. And Imanaga hasn't been taken yet. Snell
Monty.
Yep, and Monty. And I think everybody in the chat has made their case about all of them. But so it's going to be do we just promote Warren? And Warren, we've talked about at length too.
Right.
Be show ready. So yeah, he is going to be a stud. All signs point to that. But is it going to be just using the farm for what its purpose is, instead of hugging them and having them in a collection to use when you want to? We might not have a choice if we don't. And our pen that's
right.
not addressed.
Right.
So, and so the pitching remains a big question mark, and it really shouldn't be. We had a huge market of free agent pitchers. And so what are they laying low about? And is there a reason? Is there a good reason for it? Is it for good or evil that they haven't done anything this week? Or maybe there's tax reasons. Who knows? They want to spend in 2024 instead of 2023. I don't know if that's a thing in baseball. I'm sure some of the friends in the chat would be able to. But yeah, and FJ is saying, and everyone's been saying that, Monty is going to go to Boston. So we'll have to see who's the most psychic amongst us.
Exactly. The crystal ball. Let's take a look here. And Lynn, do you want to give us the answer to the trivia question?
Yep. I shall do so. The last one of the year. Let me put it up. And here we go.
Oh, sorry. I just put up Mr. Barros. I agree with him 100%. The Yankees better move their asses on getting another starter and a closer, or they're going to lose out, because we're already losing out. So let's hope that doesn't happen.
And I'm gonna double agree, triple agree, and it would be a travesty again, given the farm full, not that farm, but there was so many. It was a free agent pitcher's mall to shop in, and we're still sitting here without a good name to bring in and on with that we'd be on board with the proven record that we want to see. And so here we are again. So just this is the season finale trivia question. And so again, 111 years ago, October 5th, 1912, pitcher Al Schulz, a name that is even the hardest of the diehard Yankee fans may not recognize, retired Washington Senators right fielder Danny Muller to end an 8-6 New York win. And he was the last pitcher to do this. And here's the answer. Al Schulz threw the last pitch as a New York Highlander.
Wow.
When I give clues, I give good clues.
Excellent trivia question. I love that.
In 1913, the team returned as the New York Yankees.
Okay, wow.
Yeah, so that was a really tricky one to end the year, Elliot, because, and don't get mad, I did give a hint before you came on, that you really want to read into this because maybe it's about something more than, what
that was an excellent trivia question.
So yeah, really, really good trivia question, Spencer. We look forward to signing you. We're going to re-sign you for the 2024. Spencer, our people will call your people.
Oh, that's hilarious. And, I really hope next week when you and I are on that we're talking about the biggest Yankee season.
Oh, you broke up a little bit, but...
Oh, I'm sorry. I said I hope next week when we meet, we're talking about a big starting pitching signing.
Yes, I hope that we're coming in here celebrating and really amped up.
Yes.
So let's just manifest that, do a little dance. Let's all make that happen together. And so I guess with that, don't forget to like, subscribe, ring that bell, subscribe. This chat, let me tell you something. You get the 2023 Chat of the Year award.
I agree.
I think it's time for YouTube to have an award show, the Tubies.
I love this chat. Thank you so much for joining us. And the conversations are always so fun to feed off of every week.
Absolutely. And I love the little community you've built for yourselves in the chat, and just having your own discussions. I enjoy coming back and reading the things you guys are talking about.
Oh, absolutely.
And so just thank you. Thank you for joining. And and for your support. And as always, you'll have a seat with Chris and me right here on the upper deck. See you in 2024, and a very happy new year to all.
Go Yankees!
Go Yankees!